And I think to myself, it's a wonderful world. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dice Odyssey. I'm Kaz, and today we're going to be talking about a game from Lucky Duck Games called It's a Wonderful World. I'm sorry I have to do it. First off, I'm a musician, and that song just keeps rolling back in my mind every time I think of this title. It's a Wonderful World. In this game, it is first off, it's a card drafting and engine building game. In this game, you're one of the 5 empires and you're trying to build up your empire. You're one of the great leaders of your empire, and you're using propaganda and all these other things to get the people to love you. And it's after a great war or a bunch of great wars, and you're just trying to get your empire to be the greatest out of all of them, right? By building it up with different kinds of technologies and armaments and things of that nature. Anyway, let me go ahead and get you over the table. I'm going to give you a quick, brief overview of how it plays, and then we're going to get back to my final thoughts. Each round, you draft cards that you use to produce resources and develop your empire. Now, you can start with the B side of the empire, which means everyone will be able to produce the exact same resources to start, or you can do the A side, which will give you different kinds of resources and combo bonuses that each empire can produce. In the draft phase, you'll deal 7 cards to each player. Each player will look at a card, take the one they want, and pass the rest of their hand to the next player. You will continue drafting cards until you have 7 cards in your draft area. Then you move to the planning phase, and you have to decide what you're going to do with each card. Let's go ahead and take a look at the cards real quick. In the top left-hand part of the card, it will show you the different kinds of resources you need to build these cards. Now, in the middle of the bottom part of the card, it will show you different kinds of resources that these cards, once built, will produce for you. Now, right above your resource production at the bottom, sometimes you'll have cards that give you a little bonus at the top. And you gain that once you've built that card. Now, some cards will even have items in the bottom left corner, which you can use as combos for points. So, for example, this symbol here shows that for every blue symboled card that you build, you get 2 extra points at the end of the game. Sometimes it just shows you the amount of points you'll get for building the card. Now on the right hand side of the card, it shows you the resource you immediately get for recycling this card. Basically discard the card and gain that resource. Those will be your 2 choices in the planning phase. You may slate these for construction or recycle them, but you have to do this with every single card. You now move into the production phase. This phase comprises 5 sequential production steps, 1 for each type of resource. Each player will look at the cards that they have built, including their empire card, and determine what resources they generate. For example, in the gray step, everyone will see if they generate a gray resource. Now, there are bonuses for those who generate the most in each production step. For example, whoever produces the most gray in this production step gains that character token bonus. Now, you must immediately place your resources on whatever cards you are attempting to build, and once you've placed all the resources on that card, it is considered built and it goes into your tableau. If you have resources you cannot place on any of the cards, then you place them on your empire card, and for every 5 resources you place there, you gain a rare resource called Crystallum. And this is basically a wild resource you can use for almost any other type of resource. Crystallum can be stored on your empire card. And that's pretty much how you play It's a Wonderful World. You'll continue to do this for 4 rounds, and at the end of the 4th round, everyone tallies up their points. Whoever's most points at the end of the game wins. Now let's get back to my final thoughts. I'm going to go into my pros, and then I'm going to go into my cons, and then I'm going to give you my final rating. Number 1, pros. I really like the artwork in this game. Really like the artwork. I think that the production quality is actually pretty good. Overall, the artwork kind of draws me in. The theme, I'm not going to necessarily include this in the cons, but the theme is about as thin as a piece of paper in some regards. I didn't feel the theme hardly at all, but the thing was the artwork drew me more into what theme was there to kind of make me buy into it. So in that regard, I liked it overall, and the artwork really helped. Now, when it comes to the mechanics, that was the bread and butter for me in this game. Absolutely loved the drafting. I love drafting anyway. I enjoyed the drafting in this game. I also really love the fact that you're doing different phases for the different kinds of resources that you got coming out, right? And I like it because it makes you kind of plan ahead, so to speak, about some cards that might need, and again, I'm sorry, I can't remember all the orders of which resources are which. Well, let's say pretend the yellow come out a little bit later than, say, the gray. Well, you got a bunch of cards down here. Some of them need yellow, and if you get some gray on those cards to start, if you get the yellow after, I might be able to complete that once that phase hits, and I really hope I'm able to get that, so you're banking on it. And I like that idea because it gives you a lot that you can do in terms of planning. And I really love that. For an engine building game especially, planning goes a long way, and you want to be able to kind of see well ahead of time of what you're doing. Now, to a certain extent, you're going to have some luck on that card draw, but overall, the phases are some of my favorite things in the game. I also like the fact that I can get some resources quick if I need to, if I'm able to recycle cards. And sometimes you got some really amazingly powerful cards in terms of either points or the modifiers that combo off of other cards. And you really don't want to give them up, but you have a better card you're hoping to get built, and it might take you several rounds. And I think there's only 4 rounds in the game. I mean, the game is quick. But you're like, it's really hard decision to make. Should I recycle this and get rid of it and get that quick resource to help me along the way of building these other cards, or do I put that into my tableau to try to be built later? You have some really good decisions you have to make there, and you're constantly thinking about this. You really have to think several moves ahead, and I love that part of the game. It's just straight up strategy, and then there is some tactical with the draft and things of that nature, but the strategy in this game is some of my favorite. It reminded me a little bit of Seven Wonders with that draft and how you're building like wonders over time and things like that. But overall, it was one of the best parts of the game for me personally. Another thing I really liked was I liked this at pretty much every player count. I played the solo game. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm not a massive solo gamer. Most of y'all know that if you've watched this channel. But it is a game that I wouldn't mind playing solo if I was just really feeling the need to. So it's there, and if you like solo games, I think you'll find something here to play with, and you have a bunch of little stacks of cards that you have to go through. I also like how fast this game is. At first, when you first play this game, you're going to think, 4 rounds? It doesn't seem like it's enough. And I'm going to say this to you. If you don't get your engine built well enough in the first 2 rounds, there's a strong chance you're going to lose this game. Now, I'm not saying you can't have some really good rounds later on to get it, but by the time you get to the 3rd round, you really want that engine to just be a well-oiled machine, so to speak. And you might add a little bit more to it as you go. I mean, we had a few games where that happened, but overall, the first 2 rounds are so critically important to get your engine built up properly. And I will say, I had a game of this where I was so excited to get these bigger cards built that my first 2 rounds of engine building wasn't much of my engine being built at all, and I was absolutely destroyed in one game from doing that. But the next game I came back and I think I won it. We played several games of this. I think I won that game because I figured out where I messed up and I built my engine properly, and I was able to get the bigger cards built later on. Another pro is that this game is not very hard to learn. You can pick this up within the first 2 rounds and you've got it. You know what I mean? Now, again, building your strategy and understanding how the cards combo off each other will take a little time, but I mean, actually learning the mechanics of the game, it takes no time. And when it comes to that time frame, this is a quick play. I mean, you're getting like maybe 30 minutes on 2 players, maybe. If you know what you're doing, you could probably cut that time down. But yeah, I think it says 45 minutes on the box. Yeah, 45 minutes, probably about right, especially at the higher player count. Now, were there any cons? Yes, and I'll be honest with you, it took a couple of games to kind of really realize it. Now, you may or may not care about this, but to me, I personally had a problem with the fact that the cards weren't really set out in sets of tiers. Like, you might have a whole hand of cards, and this is very rare, but it is possible. We had this happen a few games where most of the cards you get are massively, they're going to take a lot to build, and you're not always getting the smaller, as I call them, the engine building cards, the ones that are quick build, like you only need 2 or 3 resources. You're not always getting those into your hands right away. And I kind of wish they went a little bit more of a Seven Wonders route where they had different tiers of cards set up, where the first tier, it's a lot easier to build. It's helping you to get your thing going, your engine going. And then second tier is a little harder to build. And the third tier, you better have a great engine to build that, right? And so I kind of felt like this game needed a little bit more of development, maybe in that regard. The overall game itself is amazing, and that may be an easy fix. I don't know. I mean, it's probably something you could even house rule. You may find the certain kinds of heavier cards you stick in one stack, and find maybe medium cards or what is perceived to be medium style cards. I don't know, but that was definitely a definite con I did not like about this game. It didn't kill the game for me though. I really enjoyed this game, even despite that con, but you're gonna notice it, right? And there were still games where things just worked out, but it was very more of a randomizing element to the game that I kind of wish it wasn't like that. I just really wish there were kind of more like tiers of decks of cards that you could draft with. But overall, like I said, it was not a killer for me. I really enjoyed this game a lot. Right now, this game, Lucky Duck Games keeps hitting hits out of the park for me personally. And even though I had that one con in the game, I really love this game overall. It is one of my favorite games of the year, of 2019 specifically. I give this right now about an 8 out of 10. Absolutely awesome, and I'm really excited to see where they take this system. I'm really excited to see more expansions for this game. I mean, they could just do a lot with it. It's just a simple combo card game. So yeah, it's a wonderful world. It's a wonderful game, and this one's staying on my shelf. This is an awesome. You definitely should check this out. If any of this appeals to you, if drafting or engine building appeals to you in any regard, definitely check this game out. Anyway, that's the review. Thank you so much for coming back to the Dice Odyssey. And please remember to like and subscribe if you like the content so you can keep up with any more reviews or anything else we're going to be putting out. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Have you played this game? What is your favorite drafting game, or for that matter, engine building? Especially in a smaller format, a quicker game format. Anyway, thank you so much. You have a blessed day, and game away. This video is brought to you by Fallen Dominion Studios. Check out their website at fallendominionstudios.com.